Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for those that have joined us again on this episode of Continence Chat. My colleague, Susie, is not going to be able to join today, so I'm going to go it alone. But I am here with 𝗲𝗷𝗫𝗍, who is one of the founders of Small ALF Coalition out in the Tampa Bay area. We have known each other for a number of years, and I am so excited. We always have a good time when we chat, Angelett. So I'm going to kind of turn the mic over to you, and maybe just as a way of kicking things off, if you just want to share who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why do you do what you do?
Thank you so much, Deanna. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you on Continence Chat. Yes, it seems like we've known each other for many, many years. I think we met right at the pandemic, as a matter of fact, 2020. So probably right there when everybody was pivoting and trying to find a new way to do business. And it's been wonderful being connected with you all this time. So my background, I'm the co-founder of the Small Assisted Living Coalition, VP, the co-founder. My husband and I founded the organization together as an offshoot to being owners ourselves. So we were, both of us are court trained in the state of Florida to be an administrator. So we owned and operated our own small assisted living, which is, in our world, it's usually situated in a private residence. So we had 6 residents by the time we sold that first property. We actually lived with our residents probably 80% of the time. And so when I met you, Deanna, and you were selling incontinence supplies through Seni, I thought, wow, I could have definitely had this relationship earlier, had the stars lined up like they kind of would have wanted them to, because I do know exactly what it is to take care of someone who has major incontinence issues. So it wasn't foreign when you said, "Oh, I'm selling incontinence supplies." Okay, well, great, we can be friends.
Yeah, we clicked right away too. I adore your personality, and you're always so positive, and it's nice to just always brainstorm. So I think some of the best relationships are when you can't remember how they formed or when they formed, but they're tight, they're sticky in a good way. And I know I've always enjoyed coming out to your events, and you host a lot of events, networking from different senior living industry professionals. Do you feel, Angelett, that things are back to pre-COVID days in terms of people coming out and back to normal, so to speak, a new normal?
I really do. And it's such a welcoming familiarity, I guess, is what I would say to that. Yes, more people are coming out. You know, as a matter of fact, I was out doing sales calls this morning, and the doors are pretty much wide open. You and me, they're not as guarded. The senior living communities aren't as guarded as they were during COVID and then shortly after. So that's wonderful. In our world, as a networking group. And then, of course, placement is our focus. So placement of seniors into the assisted living communities. We definitely need to get in there to see them. So that's wonderful to have that. The coalition, as you mentioned, you talked about coming to our networking events. Our business, again, the focus is placing the senior into assisted living or independent living, whatever their care need requires. But then on the other side of that, we have the networking piece. So that's the piece where we bring industry professionals together on a platform so that they can engage each other and make connections, connect dots. You and I like to talk about connecting dots a lot. And so we do that at various platforms. Our traditional monthly meeting, which we just had yesterday, as a matter of fact, we had probably about 50 senior living professionals, healthcare professionals at one of the senior living communities over in Hillsborough County. And then we do our women in the senior industry wine tasting. So we bring industry professional women together in a smaller, more intimate platform, but it gives us a chance to, you know, strengthen each other, you know, help, again, going back to connecting dots and giving each other information that they can take back and put into their businesses that ultimately help them serve their seniors better.
Yeah. And I know when you speak of connecting dots, it is kind of funny how we have known each other for years. And then you shared some wonderful news recently about the direction of small ALF. And then it was like our light bulbs went off almost at the same time to say, wait a minute, why are we not working in a more close capacity? I don't want to steal your thunder, but is timing right to share with social media the direction of Small ALF Coalition?
That's right. And I'm so glad you said that, because one of the trainings, so the big news is that we are now offering franchises. So we have we've finished all of the work, and we've got our logo and our name trademarks. We have our disclosure documents, so we're ready to actively sell franchises. And it's interesting because just recently I went back after, I don't know, maybe a decade or more of putting our marketing plan together. And just like with anything else, you put a plan together, you write it down, you put it on the bookshelf, and it kind of sits there, right? In my case, it was in my email basket. But I went back and I looked at it, and it was like, oh my goodness, when we launched this business, our goal was to sell franchises. And along the way, I had forgotten that. So I thought it was like a new idea. When I went back and I looked at the marketing plan, no, it wasn't a new idea. It was always the idea, it was the goal to be our exit strategy, so that we can take what we've done over the past 10 plus years as the Small Assisted Living Coalition and offer this as a package deal to someone else that wants to get into this business, to help connect people who need senior living, senior care, to those reasons.
That's amazing. I'm really happy for you.
We're excited.
Yeah, you should be. No, that's neat to be impressed by. So I think it's great. And then in talking, you and I had that conversation about, wait a minute, how can we incorporate Seni into the mix for potential franchise owners that maybe are looking to add a revenue stream to the coalition? And also because you had shared with me your past experience with caring for residents that have incontinence. Have you found, Angelett, when you are out in the community showing families and potential new residents, different communities, the purpose of our show is to make uncomfortable conversations more comfortable. Does the topic of incontinence come up? And I'm just curious, how does that raise its ugly head, so to speak? How would that come up?
It does come up, and most often it comes up by me prompting the question. And I always know it's usually the last thing that I ask, especially when it comes down to what kind of care the client needs. And depending on who I'm talking to, especially if it's a son talking about his mom, that's one area that gets a lot more uncomfortable than normal. Okay, so a son who's trying to help his mom get into an assisted living, so I'm asking that question. It's also uncomfortable a lot of times for men to talk about it, more so than the women, especially me being a woman and talking to another woman. But I handle it delicately, just like the philosophy behind Seni's product. We want to leave our clients with dignity, right? We want them to feel dignified in their daily activities, and then also in their conversation about it. But yes, it's a tough topic, but you just handle it delicately. Many people have incontinence issues. As you know, I'm sure the statistics tell you that. And it's just a matter of, you know, easing into it and then reading the audience to know how deep or how, you know, we like to say in basketball, go hard in the paint. If they're uncomfortable, then we don't go hard in the paint. We back up a little bit and, you know, try to soften that conversation. But yes, it is a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the good thing is, like, to your point, I do think more and more people are mainstreaming the conversation. And I always kind of look back, if you have solutions, like I always think, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but you know, years ago, if people heard the word hospice, they would think end of life. But now more people, as they become educated, they think, wait a minute, you can actually get off of hospice. So it doesn't always mean end of life. You know, cancer had a very negative connotation. Now there's solution, there's great hope, there's treatment. Like, and I almost think incontinence has the stigma, has always had the stigma, but it's a little bit more going away, kind of, you know, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. It's going, because I think we're all more empathetic and looking for solutions and living in a world where we just want to provide help to one another and say, have a good day. Nobody wakes up saying have a lousy day. So
no, it's so true. And the thing to that point too, Anna, you know, the more times that we can let people know that they're not alone in a challenge, and incontinence is no different than any other challenge that we have in our lives, right? So as long as we can let them know they're not alone, I think that does to ease the burden of the conversation.
Yeah, I agree. We had an episode that I think will air next week or the week after, will air before yours, and we had a gentleman on it, and I just love that he really brought the topic from a male perspective to the surface. And I said to him, boy, you are going to help so many males out there feel more comfortable. It really gave me a chill talking with him.
Awesome.
It was cool. So yeah,
those are the little victories.
Those are, right?
Yeah, they're little.
We just spent time at the Caregiver Forum. For our listeners that maybe weren't able to attend, didn't see it on social media, but it was Dr. 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗍 speaking in Florida, helping caregivers from the community, held at Active Age, a new adult day center in Sarasota. And then at the same time, simultaneously, Dr. Brittany Lamb was speaking up in Virginia at an assisted living community tribute at the Glen. And there were lots of people involved, the Alzheimer's Association, Caregiver Worldwide, Nicole Will with 𝗀𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗏, many of us involved, yourself, myself, my team. What were we haven't spoken since then. I loved it. I'm going to give you my 2 cents. I think we helped a lot of people, and I had people going out the door that were saying, this is great. And I always think they probably slept well. What was your takeaway from that event?
Oh my goodness. I was so intrigued. I didn't get a chance to see her first, Dr. Laird's first presentation, but the second one, which she did specifically on the incontinence issues, I learned so much, even for myself. Number one, the caffeine intake and the carbonated water. So 2 of my favorite drinks, carbonated water and caffeine, coffee. So being irritants, I loved what she had to say about, you know, keeping the pathway open for the caregiver or for the care recipient or the aging individual who has to get up and go to the bathroom frequently, and how the Seni product can help provide safety for people with, you know, frequent bladder movements. The energy in the room from the caregivers that were there was amazing. It was so good. I was standing next to one of the ladies that helped us put this together, and she pointed out, because I had already seen it, but she pointed it out, there were several people in the audience standing up taking pictures. So the caregivers that were in the audience, and the slides that Dr. Laird had on the screen, the big screen, and with the big screen there, they were standing up taking pictures. And the woman next to me said, that's a good sign. That's a good sign that the audience is receiving this information. And that made me very excited. It made me feel a part of
what we already knew was going to be a nice big thing, a Saturday morning of connecting caregivers to the resources they need to live better lives. But seeing it is a whole nother, you talk about, you put these events together, you're on the planning committee and you put it all together, but when it happens, that's when it really just sets in.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I loved and had such an appreciation too for all those that were exhibiting, because I just thought caregivers coming in don't have a lot of time by themselves typically, but the amount of resources that were available from those exhibitors was amazing. And then your point about, I mean, I'm in the industry, and honestly, when Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗏 spoke about, to your point, the pathway, I came home and realized that my husband is on one side of the bed closest to the bathroom, and it gave me pause for a minute thinking, are we going to be in this house, for how long? We need to think about shifting now. Or
yes,
that made so much sense when she said, make sure that if you're the person who's incontinent, you are closest to the bathroom to get up. And yeah, lots of good takeaways. But
amazing.
Yeah, lots of, and that to me is collaboration at its best. So many people coming together down here and up in Virginia to make that happen. So I hope next year it grows legs and we are able to help even more people. So,
I think it will. I think it will.
I do too. I do too. Well, listen, I want to keep this short because that is the intent of the program, that anything longer than 30 minutes is not a chat. I always enjoy speaking with you. If you were here right now, you'd get a big bear hug from me. But so great to see you again. I've had my doses now. I'm gonna miss you, like, if I don't see you soon, of my doses of Angelett.
That's how it happens, isn't it? I feel the same way, Deanna. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. And I totally appreciate the opportunity to be an affiliate marketer for Seni's products. I'm psyched about that. I've been out marketing all morning with it. So
awesome. And you let us know if you need anything, product samples or literature or education questions. We're seriously a phone call away to help.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.